Hey, I'm Yogi Don, your octogenarian yogi. When I began yoga in 1996, I was 57 years old and stiff as a board. I could hardly reach below my knees. In these videos, I'll share what I've learned over the years about yoga's ethics, its philosophy, its poses, its breath work, and meditation. It's helped me and many others, and I know it can help you too. I hope you'll subscribe and share these videos. Okay, so let's get started. May we be protected together, may we be nourished together, may we create strength together, may our work together bring fulfillment, and may there be no disharmonies among us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Hey, I'm Don, and I'm your octogenarian yogi, and today we're going to work on some leg strengthening exercises, learning how to get up and down off of a chair, because I know for some this is a real issue. And getting up and down from the chair also is part of strengthening our legs. So before we really get started into some of these leg strengthening exercises, I'd like to demonstrate how you can begin, if you're having difficulty getting up and down out of a chair, how you can begin to strengthen your legs so that you can get up and down more easily. One of the reasons why I want to do this is because several years after my mother died, my dad had a friend that he visited regularly in the mornings. He would take the newspaper over and they would sit in her kitchen and read the newspapers together and socialize. One morning when he went over with the newspaper, he found her on the floor in her garage. She had fallen sometime in the afternoon and had spent the entire night on the floor of her garage. This should not happen to anybody. And so that's one of the reasons why I want to do this particular series of exercises. It may seem at first like it's a little off of yoga, but when we think that what we're really trying to do is strengthen ourselves and be consciously aware of what's going on within our bodies, it's not such a stretch. In fact, we can really include a lot of things as yoga if we make them mindful and think about what we're doing. So that's basically what we want to do. All right, let me demonstrate. If you're having problems getting up and down out of a chair, if you have to really push yourself up to get out, begin strengthening your legs by taking a chair, something similar to the one that I'm using here. I have 4 folded blankets to help raise it up a little bit, and just begin sitting on top of the stack. Hands at our legs. We'll begin by just leaning forward, shifting our weight so the weight is over our feet, and then coming up to standing. And reverse, stick our butts out, our heads and body forward, and then come back to sitting. So let's do that again. Leaning forward, get my weight up over my feet, then pick my butt up, and come up to standing. Now, as you can see, as I come back down, I reverse, head is out, butt is back, and I come back to sitting. Now, you could also start this particular exercise from a stool where you have a little more height. So the more height, the weaker that your legs feel, the higher you can start to begin to strengthen them. So if you feel like your legs are really weak, start from a stool. It's easier to get up from a stool. Then as you begin to strengthen, you can move to these 4 blankets or however many you want to use. And when you feel comfortable with doing it with the 4, you can take one off and try 3. Lean forward and come up. Back. We're keeping our weight centered over our legs, body forward, tail back, and back to sitting. Again, forward, shift the weight into the feet, and come up. When you're comfortable there, take a blanket off. Now, it may take several weeks for you to working on each one of these levels to begin to strengthen your legs so that you feel like you have the strength in your legs. But I'll tell you that if you're consistent and you work at it regularly, you will find over a very short period of time that your legs do begin to strengthen again. So let's come forward again, shift the weight, and come up. I'm comfortable here, so I'm going to take off a blanket. Lean forward, get the weight over the feet, and come up. And again. When you're comfortable there, you've got it. Take one off. Now let me give you one other little piece of advice here, or help, tip, if you will. If you're having problems getting your weight forward enough, just think about what you're doing here. You can bring your arms up overhead and let your arms begin to act as extra weight to help bring your body up. So we switch forward, get the weight over, and come up. So our arms are acting as sort of a counterweight. All right. Now I'm going to set these blankets aside and make a little room so that we can get to some other exercises. All right. I'm going to be right here with my chair, and you can be close enough to the chair so that you can use the chair for support if you need it. We're going to do some warm-up exercises at first, about 4, I think, exercises. We'll begin with a marching in place, lifting our legs, lifting the knees high. And when we do that, as we lift our knees, let's also put a little flexion in the toes and the foot so that we're lifting the foot as we begin to get used to keeping our toes up off the floor. More about that in a minute. And now let's come to our chair. You can keep your hands on your lap, on the chair, whatever feels right. Lift the leg, and we'll do some circles, foot circles, and then reverse. That's 5, and then the other side. And reverse. And back. Okay, now we're going to do leg lifts. And we're going to alternate. You don't need to alternate if you don't want to. You can do all on one side and then go to the other side. I'm going to alternate back and forth, though. Okay. I'm going to scoot out a little farther toward the front of the chair. This time I'm going to lift my knee. Okay, that's 5 each side. Now I'm going to get up and come around to the back of the chair for some squats. And I'm going to do it the way we were practicing before. Leaning forward, shifting my weight into my feet, and then coming to standing. I'm going to come around behind my chair, and I'm going to turn the chair sideways. Now, with our hands on the chair and our feet a little wider than hips width apart, and my toes are out a little bit because as I go down, I want my toes and my thighs, my knees to be pointing in the same direction. Exhaling down. Inhale up. Okay. Now, I was keeping my hands on the chair. I was also going down as far as I could go. Now, maybe you don't go down that far. Maybe you only go down halfway. Whatever you do it slowly so that you're really working those muscles. Okay. Now then, this is a side leg lift we're going to do next. Chair is good here. Now, in this one, we want to keep the foot rotated down rather than letting the foot come up. So try and keep the foot down. And that was 5. This time I'm going to hold. And release. I counted 5 breaths, and in yoga we sort of learn to time things by our breathing, by our breaths. So I suggest that will work for you too. Now, the other side. All right, now I'm going to turn and reach my leg back and touch the toe. Straightening my leg. And then the other side. Now, this one is called Good Morning. It's something that free weightlifters do. And I'm going to take a little break here and get a broom handle. All right. With the broom, or broom handle, I'm going to bring it back behind my neck. Now, this may work for you, or this may work for you. Whichever does, Find the one that works and do that. Exhale down, inhale up. And that's 5. And we'll put this broom away. And the next thing we're going to do is toe stands. I'm wearing shoes, which normally I wouldn't do if I were doing yoga, but for what we're doing, wearing shoes I think really works well because the shoe tends to help support your foot and helps you to keep your balance on the floor. All right, begin coming up and down. And this time we're going to come up and we're going to hold it as high as we can for about 5 breaths. Release. And as you begin to do this more and more, hold the chair more and more lightly until finally you're doing it without holding it or touching the chair. All right, now let's come back to sitting, and we're going to use our sitting exercise. All right. Scooting forward on the chair. This time we're going to do some sit-ups. Sit-ups from the chair. Begin crossing our arms across our chest. And we're going to lean back, not touch the back of the chair, and inhale back up. Inhale back, and exhale forward. Move slowly. And this time we're going to go back and hold for 5 breaths. And there we are. All right. Now we're going to do seated boat pose. If you're familiar with yoga, you know boat pose from sitting on the mat. Here we're going to just lean back without touching the back of the chair. Pick the feet up and hold a balance without touching the chair back. And release. All right. We did some leg lifts to warm up. We're going to come back to the leg lift again. and the other side. One more. And this time I'm going to scoot the chair back a bit. I think I'll turn sideways too. Reach my leg forward. I'm out here at the front edge of the chair. Point the toe, sit up tall, and then reach the hand down the leg as far as it'll go. Keep the back as flat as you can. And try not to round the back or collapse the chest. And just reach down toward the foot. We'll do 5 breaths. And the other side. And inhale back up. I'm going to turn the chair. And we're going to do sit to stand. One more. And I'm going to come around behind the chair. Okay. This is a leg lift from behind. No allergy business going on here. All right. Keeping the knees aligned, just lift one foot high as you can. One more this side, and then the other side. And that finishes that. Now, that was a leg lift, foot lift from behind, working our hamstrings. This time we're going to work on our quads, these muscles in the front of the thighs. Lift as high as you can. Going a little faster, so I'm going to slow down. And the other side. I'm going to come back to the other side. Lift. Not quite touch. And other side. Without touching. And back to standing. All right. Now I'm going to move the chair out of the way. We're going to do some walking. And I hope that you'll have enough space that you can do this walk. What we want to do is to lift the leg and roll up on the toes and come down on the heel. And lift high. And this requires a little bit of concentration. All right, one of the things we're trying to do here is to become used to lifting our foot, especially lifting our toe as we walk. And maybe you, for the practice for this exercise, try and do just what I was doing here, lifting and rolling your foot. But in everyday walking, start trying to think about lifting your toe, because dragging the toe is what usually causes us to trip. Trip over carpet, over just the floor. So become aware of lifting, rolling your toes up off of the floor, okay? And let's do that backwards. Pick something to look at. center. All right, walking to the side. Okay, as before, we were picking our feet up, so we're going to do that again with our sidewalk, as though you're stepping over things to the side. These exercises, we're trying to teach ourselves to lift our feet, lift our legs, and back to center. All right, now this little exercise works our calves. We want to step 1 foot forward and then sort of a little bend in the knee as we do. Pick that back heel up and then roll back onto the back foot and lift the toe. As you lift the toe, try and straighten out the knee a bit so you get a nice stretch in the calf. One more. Oops. And back. Step the feet together. And then the other foot forward. They really don't need to be that quite that far apart. All right, bend in the knee, lift the heel, weight back into the back foot, lift the toe. To standing. All right, you want to do that so that in both positions you get feel a nice stretch in the calf and here also. Okay. Now, this one's the last one we're doing. It's a standing back bend. So, heels of my hands at the waist, fingers running down my butt, shoulders back, and open up through the belly. Okay, that was 5 breaths. Thank you for doing these. I hope you'll do them regularly. If you can, try and do them every day. Maybe if it's really difficult, every other day, but work toward doing them daily. Because you will, in a very short period of time, notice a difference, a big difference in how your legs function stepping up and down off the steps, and learning to keep that toe from tripping. At the end of this video, there are a couple of pages of these exercises. You can do a screenshot, download them, and print them for yourselves, and use that as your guide. Refer back to this video anytime you need to, and please pass it on. Please share it with friends, people that you know who might use it, and we'll see you the next time. Speaking of the next time, before we close, next thing I'm going to do is a bit about getting up and down off of the floor. I thought first we'd work on some leg strengthening, then we'd work on getting up and down off of the floor. We all need to learn how to do that, how to do it safely and comfortably. And then the next thing we'll do will be some yoga exercises, some basic, simple, easy things, warm-up exercises first, then we'll do some a little more strenuous, working to more and more strenuous. So that'll take us several more videos. Okay, thank you for watching, and let's bring this to a close. May our bodies be strong, relaxed, and healthy. May our minds be calm, clear, and serene. May our hearts be filled with loving kindness, and may we live our lives in harmony with our true inner selves. May we be friendly toward the joyful, compassionate toward the suffering. May we celebrate the good in others and remain impartial to their faults and imperfections. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. I hope you'll subscribe and share these videos.